All right, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed pilots and adventurers, my name is Zia, and I'm married. I'm a graduate student in clinical mental health counseling. I'm a brother, son, future husband, and a person living with SMA type 3. SMA is spinal muscular atrophy is a genetic condition that affects motor neurons, the nerve cells that control voluntary muscle movement. In type 3, which is also called Cooper-Relanger syndrome, the symptoms often appear in childhood, and they continue on into adulthood. I was told as a child that, as Melissa said, I might never walk, I would certainly never run, and that my life expectancy would be short. Well, as she said, I wrestled in middle school, I skateboarded in high school, I ran, and I climbed. Every doctor's warning just kind of felt like a challenge. But SMA is progressive. And when I was a teenager, the muscles were failing me and my limbs betrayed my will. I couldn't keep up anymore. I got my first wheelchair in college during my undergrad, but I wasn't ready to accept it fully.
Tell them the office chair story. I like this.
Okay, so instead of just using a regular wheelchair like anyone else, I brought a wheeled office chair to school because it was height adjustable and therefore easier to get up. So I wheeled that thing from class to class as sort of one final act of rebellion before being relegated to a wheelchair.
I don't know about you all, but I never went into class that badly. I always felt like that was pretty genius. From our first date, watching him work with a seatbelt and steering wheel to pull himself into place, I told him it was amazing to watch him bend the world to make it fit his needs. He said the word for it was compensating, using what you have available to compensate for what you might not be able to do yourself.
And yet, despite all my efforts to stay independent, there was a long time when I felt trapped. Being in a wheelchair, I felt like losing my freedom. I stopped traveling, I stopped exploring, I stayed inside playing video games, trying to figure out what life is still look like. The world wasn't built for people like me, and I wasn't sure I had the energy to continue to fight on my own any longer. Then I met Sadiya. She traveled constantly for work and for joy, and she didn't just encourage me to travel, she made me see that I could travel.
Okay, now it's me. Hi. I'm Sadiya. And I don't know if you know this about me, but my parents and my future in-laws are at that table over there. Everybody give them a round of applause. So we would all definitely agree with this next statement. I'm incredibly stubborn. Zia and I actually have that in common, which is awesome because otherwise it just wouldn't work. Whenever someone tells us we can't do something, we find a way to prove them wrong. And then I, being the person that I am, find a way to rub it in their faces, actually, nicely, most of the time. Zia has this drive to compensate, to adjust himself and the world around him in order to achieve. And that's one of the things I fell in love with. When Zia and I met, I wanted a partner who would go on adventures with me. Zia didn't think it was possible. There was a lot to consider, a lot to plan for. But remember, I'm stubborn, and so is he. So when Zia travels, anywhere, he has to make sure that whoever's traveling with him has the ability to plan ahead. Is the hotel accessible? Are the training spaces, the events? What about transportation between events or between places? What about the restaurants? Everything has to be accessible and everything has to be checked ahead of time. Then comes the packing. How many of our wheelchairs do we have to take? There's the power chair, the shower chair, and the manual chair for going anywhere near the water, or just in case the power chair shuts down accidentally, because it's old and insurance is hard. Finally, the execution. What if the bed's too low or too high? Can the person lift him onto the bed? Does this person feel comfortable undressing him, adjusting his body when he's tired and his muscles are cooperating, moving him to the middle of the night? So he isn't in pain, helping him go to the restroom. The list goes on and on. So the first time we were traveling together after we started dating, it was for a religious event. The person we normally traveled with was there as well, our friend Umar. One night, Umar wanted to go to an evening event, but Zia was feeling pretty tired. He kept saying, Umar goes, then he has to go, is who's going to take care of him, or who's going to put him in bed and help him if Elmer's not gone? Well, that obviously me. So what do you need? He was shy and pushed back a bit, and finally I just had to say, I didn't let me pick you up, or I'm going to poke you in the chest and hurt your leg. Okay? So he laughed and agreed, thank God. And that was the first time he showed me the kind of trust and vulnerability that's integral to being his partner. Companionship, caring for someone with a disability, has everything to do with vulnerability. Zia trusts me every day with not just his heart, but his body, his survival, and it's something that I take incredibly seriously. It took me being stubborn to show him he could trust me with his vulnerability, to show him he was the perfect adventure partner. And that it was the same combination of being stubborn and being vulnerable that helped us find diving pirates.
I first met Sophie Wimberly, a founder of Dive Pirates, in 2019 when I was working at the office. She came in with a 25 phone diving, and while she waited, we got to talking. We told her all about Dive Pirates, their mission to make the world of scuba diving accessible to everyone. Now, while it definitely sparked something in me, I wrote it all up and then another thing that was really hard for me anymore.
So we found Dive Pirates again at the Abilities Expo in Houston in 2023. This is where Ali-Zia tried every assistive device you could find, mostly because they looked fun and they wouldn't let me try them. The folks at the Dive Pirates booth made everything seem possible. Zia had always loved the ocean. Scuba diving, geez, that seemed like a logistical nightmare. Let's not forget the gear, the physical demands, trusting other people to leave him in the ocean, because I was learning too, and also the money. It all seemed out of reach. There was a lot of hesitancy and a good deal of back and forth. We can do it.
Can't do it.
We can do it.
Can't do it.
Yet, this is something we both always wanted to do because of how much we love the ocean.
Because there's many great documentaries there is by one Sarah David.
That's nobody does the exit. Alright. And because the Dive Pirates, we don't believe in the word impossible, do we? No. Yeah, that was pathetic. Don't need to try again. Do we believe in the word impossible? No. Heck yeah. Alright. No. Finally, we got the process started. Thanks again to Helen and Susan, who dealt with all the back and forth with grace and probably frustration, but you never let me know it, so that's great.
And then this is also when we met John, Billy, and Claudia, and our whole lives began to change.
Yes,
All the found were a force of need. They sacrificed their weekends to make sure that they could come and help us on the fields. And far from being just our teammates, they were our adaptive diving buddies, sure, but also our companions on this journey. John and Joey opened their hearts and their homes to us. They truly helped us realize that this is very possible. The trip to get all of our gear was another experience full of gratitude and wonder. Every piece of equipment that John was set aside and I was wanting a little bit more, as if to say,
wait, Dive Pirates is paying for this too?
yeah. I don't know if you know all this, but sometimes it's expensive. Turns out if you want to try and exist in an environment that's actively trying to kill you, it takes a pretty penny. Yeah, who knew?
The foundation doesn't just introduce adaptive divers to the water, they train them, pay for their gear, fund their trip, and then take them on a life-changing adventure. We were lucky to be a part of that journey.
Yeah, speaking of gear, tell me about the wetsuit thing.
Okay, this is funny story. Alright, so picture this. I'm with Zia in the back of the dive shop, helping him try on a wetsuit for the first time. There's no changing rooms, we're surrounded by sharp tools, cardboard boxes, and a rack of wetsuits that's blocking us from the rest of the shop. Okay, try putting a dive suit, a wetsuit, a dry wetsuit, not a wet wetsuit, but a dry wetsuit on someone in a wheelchair. Turn this way, half an inch. Turn that way, half an inch. Turn this way, half an inch. It was incredible. So after about 20 minutes of struggling and pulling, we get the wetsuit on and come to the front to show John, only for So we prepped, we packed, we repacked. I repacked another time without telling him. I obsessed about every item we might need, called and emailed the team multiple times about accessibility. I'm kind of anxious, so I don't trust anyone else to plan out a trip for us. But it was a lesson in vulnerability again, trusting that the team at Dive Pirates would take care of Zia the way that he deserves. My trust paid off. We got to the island with everything we needed, woke up the morning of the first dive, and made our way over to the boat. And as you saw in the documentary, 4 people immediately jumped to get Zia and his chair onto the boat. Without asking, without prompting, everyone just jumped in and started helping. A fellow diver started explaining to me everything that I needed to know about the boat, where I needed to be, how to secure Zia so the wheelchair doesn't jump too much in the choppy water. Again, all unprompted. I want to take a second and explain to you how rare that is. This world isn't built for folks like Zia. The 2 of us, our families, we have to fight for our space, for movement. We have to work using trial and error to figure out how small things can function. To have a boat full of people just offering that wisdom without prompting is one of the most life-altering moments on that trip. Now, you may all be asking yourselves why. Why all the work, all the money? Why invest in the skills to explore in a hostile environment? What does diving offer? What does it really change?
Let me tell you. That first dive was epic. The second I was in the water, I wasn't just a guy in a wheelchair anymore. I was weightless, painless, I was free. Scuba diving was mentally and physically therapeutic. It's the type of experience that improves every aspect of your life. It touches every part of the person, nourishes its mind, body, and soul. After our first dive, we both cried. There was such a release of emotion, of fear, of limitations. Everything was possible. And to have my life partner Sadiya swimming alongside me, experiencing the world together, in a way that requires no adaptation, no accommodations, just being.
That was incredibly beautiful, but there were definitely moments where I would sneak up behind Zia in the water and pinch his butt. The look on his face was pretty priceless. It was great. We loved it so much with Dive Pirates, with our pirate crew at the Cayman Islands. We loved it so much in the water that we decided to get married.
That's right. On our next trip with Dive Pirates, we'll be staying in our bows underwater. And the very place that made us believe in the possibility of living with humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine, if you will, a fish with a fear of water. I know it sounds absurd, yet there I was, a person with a disability, yearning to die. A place where gravity takes mitigation and freedom knows no bounds. Now, embarking on scuba diving, while the world tells me to stay on shore, is kind of like teaching a cat to swim. With the Dive Pirates Foundation at the helm, I discovered that the impossible just takes a bit more creativity. And perhaps a 30 with it.
And a spray bottle of baby shampoo, John.
The Dive Pirates Foundation doesn't just hand out scuba gear. They provide a passport to a world with disabilities and impossible. They train, equip, and take individuals like me on life-changing scuba adventures, proving that the ocean's embrace is for everyone. But here's the treasure map. These voyages of discovery aren't funded by the moves found in funded ships. They rely on the generosity of folks like you, who believe in turning the tide for adaptive guidance. So tonight, I invite you to be part of this extraordinary journey. Your support can help chart new adventures for many more pirates and trainers. Let's raise our glasses and our paddles to ensure that everyone has a chance to explore the wonders beneath the waves.
May your hearts and your wallets be as open as the ocean we dive into. Thank you. Flag signed by all this year's Dive Pirates. There you are. So we hope that this will be very meaningful to you both, as well as a Colonel Olympic passport wallet. So please take this to thank you for your time, your talent, and everything that you've shared with this organization. We're so glad that you were blessed by it. You blessed us by being here this evening and sharing your beautiful, not only story about the Dive Pirates, but letting us get a glimpse of your love story. It's really beautiful. And I better make the exclusive on Fox when you say, all right, I do underwater, okay?